Hello YouTubers, it's Ron again. I'm made another video up for y'all. This time it ain't on automotive, but it's on my septic system. And those of you who have a septic system, y'all know how much of a pain in the tail they can be when you have a septic problem. You got to fix it because you're not tied into your city or county or whatever your municipality is. So a few weeks back, I had a problem. The plumbing started backing up into the house. The toilet, kept overflowing, got full. The bathtub, it started growing up inside the bathtub and everything. I mean, like about 3 inches of that poo-hoo-hoo, I call it, was inside the tub. So we had a major plumbing issue. So at that point, I pulled the toilet up and I rooted it out, the system out, all the way out to the main line, and I felt something bind up. I said, well, maybe it's from a buildup of stuff over the years. Well, it started working again, and so at that time I said, well, hopefully I got it fixed. So then the problem came back a few weeks, close to a month later. But the whole time during that month, the plumbing, everything was draining real slow. We flushed the toilet, it would go down real slow, and we had to chase it with water, buckets of water and stuff like that. So it just got worse and worse. So finally, I went back and rented the machine again. I said, well, maybe the main line's just plain old either clogged up completely, or somewhere maybe it's got roots grew inside of it or whatever. So anyway, me and my son went up on top of the house and we ran the rotor through the vent for the main plumbing the whole plumbing system off of the house in the bathroom. It all breathes from that one pipe up top, the vent. So we ran the router through, and I got my son to get back down the ladder and tell him to listen at it, and he let me know how far it got along, because I didn't want it to go, in the tank and just be beating around the tank and making a bunch of noise. So anyway, he told me when it got to the tank, and I said, I'm gonna run it back up in there a few more inches. But he came up on top of the house back with me, and so I said, go back down and check and tell him if you hear it inside the tank. And when he came back down, he said, Dad, I see it. It's hanging out of the ground. And it came out of the ground, and it came out about 8 feet or so, and then it went back into the ground just like a snake, like an earthworm. And so I said, oh, that's the problem. The main line is busted. So I said, man, you're going to have to fix that. So I called the company out to come out to pump the septic tank out, because I knew I needed to get the tank out, because I didn't want to dig and then have a whole pile of that coming back on me. So I had a company to come out and pump the tank out and everything, and emptied it out. And so now what I did today, I'm going to show y'all what the pipe looked like once I dug it up, and then show you I fixed it, of course. But this is what the pipe, what I ran into, and I found out what the problem was. So as y'all can see, what happened was the pipe itself, from the weight of the tank over the years, the tank settled. And as that tank settled, it began to, this pipe is made out of some sort of material. I don't want to call it paper, but it's some sort of a composite material they made it out of years ago. And that pipe started to squeeze together as that tank settled over the years. It was squeeze a little tighter, until the opening about maybe 2 inches in diameter was all that was left. And eventually it just shattered. When I ran that router through it, it had already crumbled by it at that point. And that's why we was getting the major backup. So then I knew at that point, I said, I got to replace that pipe now, because it's no good. And of course, it's no good for nothing now. But I mean, it's the first time I've seen it happen. But I mean, I know over the years I've been having problems with it over the years, and that's why. And I've had that tank pumped, I know, at least 5-6 times over the last 10 years maybe. And again, here's the pipe. So as you can see, it looks pretty bad. So anyway, me and my son this morning, we we got here and we fixed the pipe. And what I did is I tied into the pipe where it comes from the house, and I bought these rubber. They got these rubber sleeves, I guess you call it, that you can put on them, and that's where you can join it to your original plumbing. Hook these rubber sleeves on them. Those of us who are not plumbers, like I'm not a plumber, but I mean, I got common sense. My grandfather taught me that. And by the way, bless his soul, love that man. Anyway, so we tied into the main line coming from the house with the rubber sleeve, and then we put another rubber sleeve going into the tank, then the opening into the tank. After I had to break what was left, the remainder of the pipe that was in the tank, I broke it out, and so and then we just to make sure dirt don't get in, we sealed it up with we put we caulked around it and everything, but it actually a pretty snug fit anyway with just the rubber. But this is what it looks like now after we fixed the pipe. And what you're looking at now is where it's going into the tank itself. So for a couple of amateurs, I think we did a pretty good job. I made sure everything is all nice and tight and everything. And I gave him the privilege of doing that because he was inside doing his schoolwork, and so he got done. I said, well, I'll let you tighten everything up and we'll get it all covered back up. But now we figured to get rid of cover the hole back up. And by the way, unlike the guy on Dirty Jobs, I took care of the gross part so y'all couldn't see that. I thought I didn't want to show everybody that all that nastiness down there. So it was pretty nasty. Where the pipe had busted, and so I covered it all up to try to make it somewhat presentable. But anyway, that's how you fix your main line if it collapses where it comes out of the house. Now, if it collapses under the house, then you got real major problems. Then you got to have somebody come in and dig the floor up. But fortunately, on this time, I think we can get away with just fixing this part of it because I watched it for a few days. Actually, after I dug the hole, me and him dug the hole out, I looked at it for a few days and watched what it was doing. And I saw everything was flowing real good. I had to make sure because, like I said, I'm not a plumber, but everything was flowing real good. So that's why I had to come back and clean all that up and pump all that stuff out and get all the stuff out of the way and cover it all up. But anyway, we got it fixed now, so hopefully we should have no problem with it for a long time. Anyway, God bless you all, and hopefully this helps somebody. It's my object always is to help somebody out. If you can save money, why not save it? Because if a company comes out, the first thing they'd have told you, well, we got to redo your main line, and we got to replace your tank and everything. Your tank the tank was empty. So, and by the way, when they pulled the top off the lid of the tank, when I had already dug it up before the guy showed up, I noticed when he pulled it up, the tank was like only 3/4 of the way full. So that let me know right there that it wasn't a problem with the tank. So I knew that. But I already knew before he came that it was the main line. But I just verified too with the tank that my drain field was just fine because otherwise that tank would have been full up all up to the lid, and it wasn't. So I thank God for that also. So I dodged a big bullet by saving probably, if they would have been able to convince me, one of the companies that I needed a tank and a drain field and everything, you're looking at about anywhere between $6,000 and $10,000, maybe $15,000. Well, as you can see, I fixed it for let's see, a little bit of labor. Well, it took a while to dig around the pipe, but parts or whatever, I think I spent like $45 at Home Depot for the parts the other day. But anyway, God bless you all, and I love you all, and y'all have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.